Hi, I'm Josh Starr, Superintendent of Montgomery County Public Schools, and I want to thank you for being a part of this neighbor-to-neighbor meeting on the MCPS operating budget. One of the most important tasks I have each year is crafting an operating budget recommendation that funds the programs and initiatives that make our school system great. But a budget's not just about our money, it's also about our values. Montgomery County has always made a strong investment in its public education system, even in difficult economic times, and I know that our citizens will continue to do so. But as our resources tighten and our student population grows, we must have honest conversations about what we should continue to do, what we should do more of, and what perhaps we can do without. That's where your conversation comes in. I hope you'll talk about what's most important to you and your neighbors when it comes to public education in Montgomery County. We've provided you with some information, some charts, and a few questions to get you started. But I want to be clear, this is your conversation, and it should be centered on the topics that matter to you. This short video will give you a brief overview of the MCPS operating budget and provide a general idea of where the money you invest is spent each year. After you watch the video, let the conversation begin. Remember to have someone take notes and send them to us after your meeting is over. I promise that I will read every report we receive as I work with our employees and parents to build an operating budget recommendation for the next school year. And if you want to send us some pictures from your meeting, that would be great. We'll post them on the Neighbor to Neighbor website. Thanks again for being a part of this important community-wide conversation. Have a great discussion.
The MCPS operating budget is the result of a year-long effort that involves input from our staff, students, parents, and our community at large. The process begins in the summer, with each MCPS department using a zero-based budgeting process to identify the services and programs needed to provide our students with a world-class education. MCPS leadership reviews budget submissions from every department and works with our 3 employee associations and parent representatives to develop recommendations for the superintendent's consideration. In December, the superintendent presents his budget proposal to the Board of Education, who carefully reviews the proposal and gathers input from a wide array of citizens and stakeholders. In March, the board submits its budget request to the county executive and county council, who further review the proposal and gets additional public input. The county council approves a budget in mid to late May, and the Board of Education approves its final budget in June, and then the budget process starts all over again. Funding the MCPS budget is a partnership between the local, state, and federal governments. The vast majority of the budget comes from local funds. This year, 66% of the $2.16 billion MCPS budget is made up of local dollars, mostly taxes and fees. About 27% of the budget comes from state dollars, which has helped MCPS keep up with its growing enrollment. The federal government funds about 3% of the MCPS budget, mostly dollars, to assist with the education of students who are living in poverty or require special education services. The rest of the money for the budget, about 4%, comes from other sources, including surpluses from previous budgets. The economic difficulties of the past several years have had a dramatic impact on the MCPS budget. Any increases in the budget have been used to keep up with the higher cost of providing the same services to a growing number of students. Since 2009, MCPS has made more than $400 million in reductions and savings to its budget. The economic outlook improved slightly this year, allowing us to give our employees their first salary increases in 3 years. And even though the economy is still sluggish, we know our community will continue to make public education a priority in Montgomery County. The vast majority of the budget, more than 80%, is spent on instruction. That includes everything from the salaries and benefits for 11,000 teachers and school-based administrators, to the cost of textbooks, school furniture, and equipment. This also includes money for important instructional programs and services for special education students, gifted students, and those who speak a language other than English, as well as counselors, social workers, and pupil personnel workers that provide important supports and interventions to our students. Of course, we need to make sure our students can get to and from school, have access to nutritious meals, and go to school in a safe, clean environment. That is why MCPS spends nearly 15% of its budget on school support services. This includes money that pays for buses that travel more than 100,000 miles every day to transport students to and from school, the preparation and delivery of more than 15 million school meals each year, and funding for building maintenance and security. Just 2% of the budget is spent on system-wide support services, which includes the central office that provides training, support, and assistance to our schools every day. Percentage-wise, MCPS is one of the smallest central services budgets in the state of Maryland, and over the past 4 years, more than 300 positions have been cut from central office. But even amid those challenges, the work goes on.
It is easy.
Building the MCPS operating budget is a community effort and relies heavily on the input of our citizens. That's why these neighbor-to-neighbor sessions are so important.
Within the system,
The Board of Education and the Superintendent need to hear what you value as they seek to build a budget that supports a 21st century education for every child in Montgomery County Public Schools. So make sure you send us your notes from your discussion. Thanks for participating in this neighbor-to-neighbor discussion on the MCPS budget.